The 2024 season is over, marking the end of the longest year in Formula One history. Max Verstappen won his fourth consecutive championship in Las Vegas, but despite this, Red Bull Racing were never really in the battle for the Constructors' title, which was won by McLaren in Abu Dhabi for the first time in 26 years. Red Bull's failure did not just come from the difficult-to-handle RB20, but also the shortcomings of Sergio Pérez, who did not have his best season. Despite this, the Mexican penned a 2-year deal this summer, meaning he is in a strong position to stay on at Red Bull. In today's GPFans Special, we dive into this contract and how it could be used against the very team that drafted it. Before we start though, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to support content like this. A lot of hard work goes into these videos, so if you want to help us out, please hit that button. The season actually started very well for Perez. In the first 6 Grand Prix, he was on the pace and challenging Max Verstappen, scoring 4 podiums and 3 second places. After the Miami Grand Prix, however, things took a downturn. From that race onwards, Verstappen scored 301 points over the season and Perez only managed 49, which for example is only 7 more than Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. Checo was also involved in more than one crash and tops the list for most damage caused this season at around $5 million. Verstappen, who doesn't exactly have a risk-averse driving style, had $1 million worth of damage in 2024. Perez's former contract ran until the end of 2024, and there was a discourse brewing over the Mexican's future. In June, in a bid to take pressure away from Perez, he signed a 2-year extension ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix. This meant he'd stay on at Red Bull until the end of the 2026 season. It's been revealed that this contract has some specific clauses in it that could cause trouble. F1 Insider reported back in October that a performance clause was removed from the current contract, meaning Red Bull cannot simply bin Perez if he underperforms, like he has done this season, but they'd have to fork up a serious lump of money. Team principal Christian Horner even admitted that the contract extension has not had the desired effect. Quote, obviously at the time Sergio was performing extremely well. I think he had 4 podiums in the first 5 races. And in order to settle his mind and extend that run of form for the rest of the season, we elected to go early, which obviously didn't work. So that's just life sometimes, Horner said last week. Taking aside on-track performance, the general consensus is that Red Bull would prefer to continue working with Perez. Obviously, if this wasn't the case, they wouldn't have offered him a new contract in June. Verstappen and Checo get on really well, and Christian Horner explained in Abu Dhabi that Perez is very well liked within the team, apart from the millions of sponsorship money he brings in through billionaire Carlos Slim. Red Bull cans apparently sell really well in Mexico too, since Perez was signed to the team. Still, team advisor Dr. Helmut Marko, a man who strictly looks at on-track results, has been unhappy with Checo for a long time and blames the loss of the Constructors' title on the Mexican's struggling form. Marko is a big part of the Red Bull Academy as well and would rather see graduates like Liam Lawson or Isaac Hadjar come through to the main team. At time of recording, Sergio Pérez is still a Red Bull driver, but everyone is on tenterhooks waiting for an announcement either way. We have learned that meetings are currently being held about Perez's future between major shareholders, Red Bull's Thai branch, but also representatives from Austria. Checo's contract runs for another 2 seasons, which means buying the 34-year-old out of his seat will be very, very expensive. Some reports claim this figure could be as high as $60 to $80 million, which is why this decision is not just up to Christian Horner and Helmut Marko. That is some serious wonga. Nico Rosberg was on site in Abu Dhabi for Sky Sports F1, and according to the 2016 world champion, the figure is around 16, so $16 million. We will most likely never know what the actual number is, but what is clear is that Red Bull will have to pay up in a big way should they want to part ways with Sergio Pérez. They could also opt to not fire Perez, but simply take him out of his seat and keep the Mexican on as an ambassador. That way, Red Bull remain tied to the popular Perez commercially, and it lowers the buyout cost significantly. So, how should Red Bull proceed? Pay up or stick with Perez and hope for an improvement? And should they even have given him the current extension earlier this year? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts as always, but either way, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the very next one.